Music declares an emergency, and this time it has nothing to do with the global pandemic and everything to do with the survival of our planet in the face of a mounting ecological crisis. The initiative has support from Billie Eilish, Massive Attack, Radiohead, and now it's taken off in France from Rhône, Émilie Loiseau, Yael Naïm and Fakear, who I'm delighted to welcome to the studio as the world is celebrating Earth Day. Hi.
Hi.
Now, Fakear, you're one of thousands of artists to sign the Music Declares Emergency manifesto. You've also worked with the Worldwide Fund for Nature, with Greenpeace. How would you describe your commitment to this issue? Is it something that's always been there, or was there an event that prompted it?
I think that's something which came from my education, from my parents, because I grew up like my generation. I think I grew up with all that principles, like we've been taught at school about the ecological impact we had on our lives and stuff. And so now it seems like something very natural to teach this message again.
Indeed. Now, this project is calling on governments to tell the truth about the climate emergency, asking them to get down to zero greenhouse gases by 2030. Here's a little more from Clémence Meunier, who's spearheading the movement here in France.
The biggest emitter of greenhouse gases when it comes to the music industry is spectator travel to and from concerts. We need to make an effort when it comes to travel, but also on the food consumed by festival goers, as well as the on-site staff, as well as what kind of energy is going to be used to supply a stadium or a large venue. So it goes from small-scale actions like eating less meat to taking care as to how we travel around, or then large-scale lobbying efforts of higher stakes that are more closely linked to policy.
Well, they're not the only ones looking to eco-solutions. This year's Cannes Film Festival has announced a handful of green initiatives. The famous red carpet will be entirely recycled and recyclable, as well as significantly shorter. The official cars used to escort the stars to their premieres will be hybrid or electric, and they're putting an end to the thousands of plastic water bottles normally distributed on site. Now, one of the points of Music Declares Emergency is that we acknowledge the environmental impact of music industry practices and commit to taking action. Fakear, what sort of environmental consequences have you seen in your sector, and what measures have you taken?
I think the biggest issue is traveling, because especially when you're like a DJ or an artist who perform internationally, you're facing this issue of transport and taking the plane too much. And so I think that the first thing to do as an artist would be like to limit those plane travels. And secondly, I think we can easily have a hand on the merchandising, because it's something we could easily change by, changing our like T-shirt maker or something, or just the fabrication. We can call association which just like plant trees and stuff like this, instead of the traditional ways of making T-shirt in China or something like this.
And single-use plastic, for example, that the Cannes Film Festival is addressing, water bottles, that sort of thing. Well as the music industry, other solutions are coming from unexpected sectors. In this case, fine art. France 24's Laure Manon and Yong Chim have been looking at the link between an intricate form of sculpture and conservation here in Paris, by way of the French Caribbean.
Claire Durand-Ruel's house looks like a museum.
It's a crazy house, or you could say it's full of passion. This piece, No Stop Forest, is by Sylvain Rousseau. And that's by Jérémy Gaubet. It was a gift.
Coral is at the heart of Jérémy Gaubet's work. The artist wants his pieces to help restore endangered reef, a passion that has fascinated this art collector.
I thought to myself, you love supporting artists. This is the next step, to have an impact on the world.
Jérémy has always been interested in learning techniques from dying industries, like lace. His art is having an impact that goes beyond gallery walls. to the deep blue sea.
I found a particular type of lace that has a point d'esprit design. I had seen the coral up close, so when I saw this lace, I immediately made the link between how coral reef is disappearing and how so many textile factories are now shutting down. From there, Coral Artifact was born. The idea is to use cotton lace and wrap it around the coral to protect it and help the reef grow.
The artist is collaborating with Coraïbe. The Guadeloupean company experiments with prototypes and techniques developed by Jeremy. Together, the two hope to find material that can replace polluting concrete and plastic that is currently being used to help restore coral reefs.
Have you got some feedback on the lace that I sent you?
On the 21st day, some of the lace started to dissolve in the water.
The material has to be resistant for 6 to 8 weeks, the time needed for coral to grow.
Today, 85% of coral in the Caribbean is endangered or dead. So we must try everything we can to save the rest. It's important.
I always wanted my work to create links. Trying to save endangered coral is now why I get up in the morning.
Jeremy's work stands at the crossroads of art and science. Through Coral Artifact, the artist and his partners are developing a whole new ecosystem that could change coral reefs forever.
That certainly brings beauty to the range of solutions. But coming back to activism, I believe you also took part in the recent climate march here in Paris, and that protest was specifically aimed at new laws proposed by the French government, with the idea that those laws don't go far enough. In your opinion, what's missing from that text?
I think there's not much missing, but I think the main problem is that the government doesn't take that law seriously and doesn't act after it. So it act like they propose a text and it seems like something they do for their own consciousness and just to be at peace, you know. And our purpose, I think, here is to force the government to take action and to respect their promises. I think that could be the main good point to this law.
And apply those measures, indeed. Now, that march in Paris was a peaceful protest, organised with the approval of the local authorities. But there have been concerns from human rights groups around the world that activists are being silenced and criminalised for their protesting. Movements like Extinction Rebellion, for example, have seen some members face charges in courts in the UK and here in France. Do you worry that there's an irreconcilable gulf between the authorities and activists that's opening up?
I don't know. I don't know if we gonna reach that critical point, but I'm concerned with the reactions of the police and all the authorities on that matter, because it's like, I don't know. We always have been protesting on the streets, especially in France. It's kind of a tradition or something. But yeah, I'm worried that the police try to see that as with an international eye, and just to see France as like any other country on that matter, because it's not actually. We have this past of protesting and striking in the street and like this, and I think, yeah, the police and the authorities have to acknowledge that and adapt their response.
Indeed. Now, scientists have reported recently that despite a certain slowdown last year due to the pandemic, the climate crisis has intensified regardless. Your recent record, it made me think of that. It says everything will grow again. Is that your literal take on the state of the Earth? Do you think that we have enough time to salvage things?
I don't know. It's not that optimistic, actually, because I choose this title because it was kind of fatalistic. Do you say that? Yeah. It's like, anyway. Actually, I could add it anyway at the end, because it says like, as humans, we could do anything to the planet. The worst thing we can achieve is our own extinction, but the planet will go on anyway. So everything will grow again, even if we disappear, even if we like screw everything up, but the planet will go on. And it's kind of reassuring me, like, we cannot hurt this, like, this big Earth, this, like, our Mother Earth. We can hurt it because it's too big. It's too I don't know, living. Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's a very appropriate sentiment on Earth Day, that the Earth is in fact stronger than us. Thank you very much for joining us at Fakear. Now we're wrapping up the show in Russia, where one photographer has chosen an unusual setting for his images, showing them beneath the ice of the southern Arctic. Viktor Lyagushkin is behind this extraordinary collection of photos, which visitors have to dive underwater to visit. The artist says he's observed serious changes in the ocean over the years and is hoping to ward off a future in which only his photos of our marine life remain. The underwater exhibit will be visible until the ice melts. We'll leave you with a glimpse. Do remember to check out our website. We're also on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.